So we've got Josh Nelson here. Welcome, Josh.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
And for anyone watching, like Josh has been like a mentor to me. I've followed your roadmaps on the seven figure agency. I don't think we'd be where we're at without your systems. So I want to say thanks so much for that. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do and where you're at with your agency?
Yeah, so I run an agency called Plumbing and HVAC SEO. It's a full service digital marketing agency serving obviously plumbing, HVAC, and electrical contractors. Um, we actually just crossed $7 million, a little over $7 million last year in annualized revenue. Several 176 or so active clients, all on retainer based services.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And what's that growth been like? Like, how long has it taken you to get where you are?
Yeah, so we started the company back in 2011, which puts us at, I believe, like I do my math here, is like 14 years or so. So with long time in digital marketing agency space, after our first 2 years, we had kind of crossed the seven figure mark, and have continued to climb since then. We made the Inc. 5000 list 4 consecutive years, and then I think like around the $5 million mark, we were kind of there for a little bit, just kind of stabilizing. And over the last 2 years, we've kind of seen that increase to the next level.
Did you, when you started in 2011, did you ever imagine that you'd get to where you are now currently?
I wish I could say I had like this master plan. I knew it was going to happen, but I did not. Like it was like, hey, I just want to make enough money to pay for my mortgage and take care of my kids. I wanted it to be successful. I hoped that it would become something great, but no, I definitely wasn't thinking multiple seven figures or eight figures at some point.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced along the way?
Man, so many challenges. I would say it started out initially as how the heck are we going to get clients, right? And just figuring out, what's the easiest way to get clients and prospects in the agency world to say yes, right, and to agree to our monthly retainer services. Solving for that was a big issue. From there, it was retention, right, and we thought we were doing such great SEO work for our clients, and we thought we were generating such great results, but we didn't know what we didn't know in terms of what they actually needed to see, what we were reporting on, how we communicated with them. And I think we figured out a lot of that stuff and really improved our retention rate over the years. And then I think the big third challenge was figuring out how to organize the team, how to serve our clients at scale. And during COVID, we had to learn how to go from an in-office agency with all of the team coming in every single day to Miami office in Doral, Florida, to managing a virtual team and tapping into international talent. And that's something we've like just developed since COVID, and it's been a game changer for us as we've continued to grow.
When you say international talent, like what sort of countries are you looking at?
Yeah, so like I don't like to like say any particular area. Like we want to try and find the best talent regardless of where they're based. We found really good account management talent in South Africa. We've just found that there's a wealth of talent there. There's a need for these types of jobs, great English communication skills. And so we got a pretty healthy team in South Africa. From an SEO, paid search management perspective, we try to keep our directors in the United States, but the actual team that's doing the day-to-day work, we found a lot of great talent in India and Pakistan. And then for our SEO team, just it happened that we wound up with most of our team in the Philippines. We found a lot of people that already kind of had the skills that we needed to plug in. And, sometimes it's great to have a pocket for a team in the same country so they're on the same time zone and they can do some live connection and interaction. So those are the main regions where we've had the most success for our agency team.
Yeah, 100%. I've found the same things. Like, number one, yeah, we have a particular operations team. Quite often they're based in the Philippines. Account management team are based mostly in Europe and US, Eastern Europe, particularly,
Okay.
like really hardworking people and great people to work with. And then, yeah, one of the things that I was going to say was like, it feels like our company is 24/7 because like
Right.
if when I go to sleep, the US team is clocking on. When I wake up, they're just winding down, and it's just constantly going like 24/7. I think there's a big
Perpetual
advantage in
momentum, right? Perpetual,
yeah,
stuff happening within the business.
and the positive feedback loops that you get from that.
Absolutely.
It's constantly moving forward. That's the other thing I was going to ask about when it comes to positive feedback loops, like retention, particularly. I always thought sales was hard. When I first started doing sales, I thought that was hard. It's nowhere near as complex, I think, as retention. Retention feels like an infinite game. Have you found the same thing?
No, no doubt. And I think, a lot of us think it's just going to be sell the client and then get the result, right? And it's like, hey, as long as in your world, as long as those links were acquired and they're getting rankings, they should stay forever. Unfortunately, that's not the case, right? And what we find is really the main reason they leave outside of, just totally falling on your face. The number one reason they'll leave is perceived indifference. And so, like you said, those positive feedback loops, doing the work, but then also communicating to the client, hey, here's the stuff that we did. And then more importantly, making sure the client is correlating, this is what we did and this is the outcome and this is how this is impacting your revenue and your growth. Once you get that working, the retention strategies become a lot easier.
That was one of the things I was going to ask you about because, like, the best positive feedback loop that we've found by far is quality control. And what I mean by
Mm,
that, for example, is like we have a retention manager who leads the account management team, and they will listen to pretty much every single client call the account managers have, give
mm,
feedback on it. I'll listen to probably 5 or 10 client calls a week, and it gives me such a clear idea of, okay, here's where they're at and here's what we need to improve. Have you found
mm.
the same thing?
I love that. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, you train your account management team on how these calls should go. But if you're not listening, inspecting, and checking in, you're going to find that like just like the old telephone, right? You tell one person one thing, and the next person tells the next. Before you know it, like the person at the end is saying something drastically different that may not be on pace with what you want your organization to be saying. Um, I personally don't listen to calls at this point, but we have a director of client success that is doing call reviews at least once a month with our account management team, and then as a group, like kind of they're listening to that feedback and deciding like, hey, how would you have handled that differently? How can we improve in that area? I think if you can do that as a team, and then kind of diversify that feedback loop through the entire organization, everybody improves.
Yeah, and then the other thing we found that works really well when it comes to systems for retention is our operations team are on very, very similar KPIs to our account management team.
Mm,
Because like together, quite often if clients pause, it's either an operational situation or it's an account management situation.
mm.
And like together they work really closely. Do you have any other tips for that? Making sure the ops and the account management team work together?
Yeah, I mean, I think having cross cross function meetings within the organization where it's not just the account managers meeting by themselves and the SEO team meeting by themselves and the web dev development team. There's got to be times where they come together and the account management team is saying, hey, here's what we're seeing with the clients. Here's the feedback that we're getting. Here's our red accounts that are really struggling. And then getting that feedback from the SEO team, from the paid search team, from the web dev team to improve, as an organization, but also to kind of swarm those red accounts and figure out, hey, how do we turn that red account back to green?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And do you find the journey stressful?
Do I find what?
Do you find it stressful managing a team or managing an agency, or how do you deal with that?
I do find it stressful. I think, as entrepreneurs, we tend to be a little bit more visionary and we tend to be more business development oriented. And, once the business grows to 500,000, million, 2 million, you wind up with a team of people that, you've got politics, you've got drama, and you've actually got the work product that has to be dealt with. Um, I used to find it very stressful, right? Because I was the main front line for all of that stuff. As we started to develop our leadership team and implement EOS, the entrepreneur operating system, I was able to put leaders in each of those areas within the business. And what I feel are like A players, capable people that own their function. And so I don't get drawn into the drama with what's happening with all of the team members in SEO or all the team members in like content development. That goes to the team lead. The team lead handles that. And then I'm just dealing with like the handful of leaders within the organization that are bubbling up the most important things or the areas where they're stuck or the areas where they need feedback. And I'll say that reduced it from like a 9 level stress to like a 5 level stress.
I've actually found the same thing. It's like since we got a retention manager in place,
Mm.
My stress has gone from like an 11 out of 10 to like to a 5 out of 10. And yeah, it's a mass. I think the next move for us is get a sales manager, get a
Mm.
sales leader, because I'm currently managing the sales team, and that takes up a lot of time and energy, right? What would you
Oh yeah.
recommend for that? Are there any sort of hires that helps you on that?
I think it depends upon how you've structured your business. I think if you've got a great marketing mechanism and you've got inbound opportunities coming in, you probably want two key roles in sales, at least in the early phases. You want a closer, right, that can jump on the sales conversations and close
Yeah, we got that.
opportunities. And
Yeah.
then you want an appointment setter that's reaching out to all of the opt-ins, all the people on your Dream 100 list, trying to tee up meetings for the closer. I mean, usually to 8 figures, that's gonna get you where you want to go. As you look to take it to the next level, and you're like, okay, I need to actually build a sales organization around this. And, then you're talking about having multiple appointment setters, multiple closers, and when you've got that in place, you definitely want to have a sales manager in place that can oversee the KPIs, that can do the daily huddles with the sales team, that can do the call reviews and the coaching that needs to be done. I think it's tough when you're in the $3 million to $5 million range, and you've only got one salesperson and maybe one account, like one appointment setter. It wouldn't make sense to put a necessarily a dedicated sales manager on there, because it's like, I'm going to pay this person to do what? Like, what do they do all day? Unless you pulled them from another area within the organization.
Yeah, this is the thing that I'm finding is like, for example, we've got 3 closers. We're going to get a setter very soon. We did have a couple of setters. We're looking for more at the minute,
Mm,
and I think like one of the best moves that we might do is like actually promote someone internally
mm.
from the sales team to sales manager, because they already understand the culture, and also they could be like a player coach where they could take some sales calls, but they could also QC and manage the sales team.
Yeah, I
That makes
think
sense.
it's a good idea. You also obviously want to tread carefully, because sometimes the skills that make for a great salesperson, right? Type D personality, hard charging, revenue centric, don't make great traits for being a team leader that wants to, hey, I want to listen to your call and give you feedback and kind of be that nurturing, coach type of position. So just be careful, because sometimes you'll take a great salesperson, put them into that role, they shift their focus, their sales start to decline. The team, doesn't really get the support that they need. So I think it can be done. You just want to make sure you get the right person with the right personality traits.
Yeah, I think Cole Gordon talks about this, where it's you're basically taking someone in a player coach role from a selfish position in sales to a
Mm,
selfless position.
yeah,
And it's such a change in mindset, isn't it? So something
no
to
doubt.
look out for there for sure. What keeps you going? Like, at this stage, you've had so much success, not just with your own SEO agency, but also with the 7 figure agency group as well.
Mm.
What's keeping you going? Like, what's your mission?
Oh man, I mean, I love helping the clients that we serve in the plumbing and HVAC space. I love digital marketing, and it's changing so fast now with AI and the changes in the algorithm. I really enjoy it, have a passion for it. Obviously, in 7 figure agency, we have a mission to help 500 agencies get to 7 figures over the next 5 years, and multiple 7 figures. And I just love seeing those agencies' lives change as they have more money, have more freedom, have a bigger impact. And so that keeps me and Yesenia, you know, really plugged in and excited about what we're doing every day.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's one of the things that keeps me going on YouTube is like all the positive feedback loops, and
Mm.
people messaging you and reaching out and saying like this video helped or this video. I actually interviewed a candidate today for a new role on our team, and they were like, "Yeah, I watched your videos like 2 years ago. Helped me so much with SEO." It's that
So
sort
good.
of feedback that is so good. Yeah, yeah,
You're crushing it
definitely.
on YouTube as well. It's
Oh,
amazing what
it's
you're doing.
wild. It's wild. But like you say, with AI, it's so fast. It's never been such an interesting time to do SEO
Mm, no
or
doubt.
business in general. I find it's moving so quickly.
Yes,
How
for
about you?
sure.
You still doing YouTube? Still growing? I
Yeah,
saw you hit
we're
10K
long,
subscribers.
long, not nearly as much volume in terms of view count as you, but I really love long form video content. Trying to keep it within the 15 to 20 minute range with a very specific opening, a very specific close, and we get new members every single day from YouTube. both for the agency and for seven figure agency.
Nice, nice. Actually, you know, I don't know if you've looked into this, but one thing we've been doing pretty much every other day recently is a AI video avatar.
Okay.
And this avatar, I can show you a screen share if you want to see it. It's
Yeah, I'd
pretty
love to see.
interesting.
That sounds pretty cool.
It, it's crazy stuff. Like people actually, I mean, we announce that it's an AI avatar and it's not actually me, but people are still fooled by it. So I'll share my screen. I'll show you exactly what I mean, right? So you can see my screen, okay, here, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if we pull up this video, for example, or let's pull up one that got more views, like this one, it got 23K views, right?
Hmm.
So if we pull up this video right here, this is actually an AI avatar.
No
It's not
way.
me. Yeah, seriously. And we do announce it and we label it here too. But it's pretty wild. Like that's not me.
Are you
It's,
finding that it can match the inflection in your voice pretty closely now? Because that was always the issue. Like, it was like AI, it looked pretty close, but the inflection wasn't there. The highs and the lows and the emotion behind what you're saying.
yeah. So there's a couple of things like that. But I mean, number one, it doesn't have that much emotion,
Hmm.
but it's so close to my voice. It's unbelievable. Like
Wow,
if it was just me on a phone call, you wouldn't be able to tell.
that's incredible. What can you share?
And
What you use for that, or is that proprietary?
nice. I mean, for you, Josh, I'll share it all. All right. So let me show you what we do here. All right. So we've actually got an SOP for it here. And basically, what we're doing is we're training. Number one, we'll train HeyGen on how to
Okay.
do it,
Yep.
and HeyGen is super powerful for generating like an AI avatar of yourself. So you can see, for example, we got these videos here, and these are just AI versions of me. It takes about 10 minutes to train it up with a video of you, and then inside HeyGen, you can integrate 11 labs audio inside the AI voice. And so, like, we have a pro voice. This takes about 6 hours to generate the pro voice with, 5 or 10 minutes of recording from you. And then you can integrate that inside HeyGen
Hmm.
and you can create a new video based on that. Right. So, let me create video over here, avatar video. You can choose between like a portrait for Instagram or YouTube Shorts or landscape. So, if we create landscape over here, we can then, for example, give an idea. So, for example, like Sam Altman, in fact, for this, like we just got all the latest news headlines from
Hmm.
AI,
Okay.
turned it into a script with Claude, and then plugged that into the script section of here.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. So, inside Make.com is kind of an automation platform if you're not familiar
Yep.
with it.
Yep.
Similar to Zapier and that sort of thing. And inside there, you can actually create automations that generate the script and then send that straight over to HeyGen to generate the video, and you don't need to do anything manually.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
wild.
that's pretty great. Though I think the most impressive part about what you just shared was that your video had like 24,000 views, and it wasn't even you talking. Like, it was literally. I mean, I know this technology exists, but whether like people would actually engage with it and find it useful, that's incredible.
What blows my mind is like this people like this more than me, if that makes sense. Like I've got I've got videos on my channel where we get way less than that. So this got 23K, the next video got 24K, but this one got like 5K or 7K. So people actually prefer this in many ways. And then also inside the comments here, this is one of the cool things is like I don't know if you can see it, but people are like, this is the best AI news video I've seen this week. Or maybe your best video ever. It's absolutely wild. Like
It's
people
it's
prefer AI
also a little
content.
humbling, right? Because you're like, I think I do pretty good about videos, right? Like, what do you mean the AI version of me outperformed? That's funny.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean? Like you like the AI version of me more than myself? But yeah, like you say, it's humbling, but it's amazing. I mean, we were joking, me and some of my friends who do YouTube pretty intensely, because we can finally go outside and do stuff now. You know,
Mm.
like before you were spending maybe 3 hours doing a video, or you at least 100 minutes per video, like creating one, and then now you can automate it and you can get a team to create that for you, right?
That's incredible. So you've taken it from I've trained Hey Jan, I trained the voice, I've got that done. Now you've also using Claude to help come up with the script itself, and you're also using something else probably to do like topic research and to grab the ideas all the way to the place where you could have like a spreadsheet like here's all the topics I want to do, and then makes grabbing it, creating the script, and then dropping it into whatever platform that actually shoots the video. And then, like, are you automating the load onto YouTube as well, or is that piece manual?
Yeah, so what I do is we have a human editor who chops it up to make it
Okay,
more interesting and more engaging,
got it.
and they'll upload it directly to YouTube. Really the step that would be ideal is, and I think this is the next step for it, is you actually hire a full-time script writer
Hmm.
who can like generate the video avatar for you. You don't need to touch it. It goes over to the editor. Boom. You're not involved in YouTube anymore. You're out of the game.
Super cool. The HeyGen piece where you say it takes 6 minutes to train this, and then it takes 6 hours to train that. Is that you're loading like pre-recordings of yourself, or do you have to actually do it like a new recording for the sake of the training?
Yeah, the best is really like if you record it specifically to train the avatar, because, for example, the way that you want an avatar video to act is not the way that we would interact together like this.
I see.
You know, it's going to be like a bit slower. It's going to be like more blinking to make sure that the avatar blinks as well, and those sort of things. And also,
Right.
for example, if I'm like looking up like this, it's going to look very weird on the avatar video. So I just avoid that and just look straight.
Just keep your eyes straight, right, and just kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
cover it up
Don't
a
look
little
away.
bit.
Don't look away. Yeah. Exactly. So it's cool.
Fascinating. How many of those AI type videos have you done, or is that like the beta launch of those types of videos?
So that's pretty new. I mean, been doing that over the last couple of weeks and just getting better. It's a positive feedback loop where you look at the feedback from the comments. You're like, okay, I can improve this, I can improve that, I can change that next time. And then each video gets better and better. So we're always improving on that. And then the person who inspired me to start doing that was Julia McCoy on
Okay,
YouTube.
nice.
Some of her AI avatar videos are getting like 100K views. It's wild. And it's so convincing when you watch it. It's actually really interesting stuff.
Wow,
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy stuff. Who are your mentors? Like, you must have had some mentors who got you here along the way.
Oh yeah, I've tons of mentors. I'm a big fan of coaching, development, learning. Early mentor would have been Dan Kennedy, right, and going to the super conference and learning those types of things. Ryan Dice was part of the War Room Mastermind for several years and went to the Traffic Conversion Summit pretty much every single year. Over the years, I've worked pretty closely with Taki Moore from Million Dollar Coach, kind of how we structured our coaching program. And Dan Martell, big fan of Dan Martell, part of his elite program and part of his Martell fitness program. Um, you know, I could name a lot more, but like those are probably the biggest names that people would recognize that I've really studied and learned a lot from over the years.
How many masterminds are you in?
Right now, just two main masterminds.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen Taki Moore. I've seen a lot of Dan Martell. Like, I've
Mm-hmm.
read his book. It's really, really good. I was part of a group that he was in too at one point. One of the things I was going to ask was like, I noticed, particularly with retention, there's so much you can do. It's almost overwhelming. Like, there's so many little optimizations that are kind of like filling all the holes in the bucket. How do you make sure that doesn't overwhelm you, but that you do actually get everything implemented and also it stays maintained?
Yeah, I think, first of all, always look at the 80-20 principle, right? Like, what are the 20% of the things you can focus on and get implemented on a consistent basis that are going to have the biggest impact? From there, it really is your onboarding process, how tight that is, how dialed in that is. That's going to set the pace, whether they're with you 12 months down the track or not. The monthly check-in process, whether it's through Loom videos or whether it's through live conversations, making sure you're checking in, showing the value, seeing the vision, but you're not overwhelming the client with a million data points, where you're really boiling it down to the things they care about and seeing what's coming next. And then it's putting the KPIs in place as you put account management team in place at scale. In terms of making sure this stuff gets done, you want to put it in some type of project management system, whether it's ClickUp or whatever you might use, where it's like, hey, here's the things that need to get done. Who's responsible for them on the launch, on the ongoing, and then just monitoring that on a consistent basis. That's how you can make sure you get the 80-20, but you actually get it done consistently and well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. And right now, like, what do you spend your time on? I know you said, for example, you've recruited a leadership team, you've got a big company. What are you investing your time on?
I would say like right now, the majority of my time is on my leadership team meeting. So we run EOS. We have a leadership team meeting every Wednesday at 10 a.m. So I spend that time with them. And then just like kind of thinking about the future, right? Thinking about where things are headed, thinking about our service offering, make sure we're not resting on our laurels, but we're actually innovating and we're figuring out, with all these changes, how do we make sure we provide next level results to our clients and we don't become irrelevant in the not too distant future?
Yeah, I think that's a constant battle, isn't it? You can never rest. And also, the market is constantly changing, particularly now
Yeah.
with AI, right?
Oh yeah. Big time.
Particularly, massively, massively. And like, how do you get a balance between, there's always more you can do in an agency. There's always more
Mhm.
content you can create. There's always more leads to chase up. There's always more people to hire. How do you get that balance between, you know, working enough to do what's required, but also spending time, doing the things or spending time with your family that everyone needs?
Yeah, I think that changes over time. I think there's certain times in your business where you're like in an acceleration phase, and during those times, it's like let's dedicate the effort, let's put the time and the energy. I think there's times where you're like at altitude and the machine is cruising forward, and those times you can kind of draw back a little bit and be reflective and spend more time with family. I've always had a focus on work life balance because I started my business so that I could, yes, have money, but so that I could have the freedom to spend the time with my wife, with my kids, to do the things I really want to do. And so for me, I'm done by 5:30 Eastern time, and I'm spending time with the family. And I don't do work on the weekends. I check my messages, and I'll maybe make a post or two on social. But I'm actively working, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30, and that's it. And I put that as a hard constraint, and some people say, hey, that's unrealistic. You can't really grow a business with that constraint. But I've built an 8-figure enterprise now that's continuing to grow, and I've never really broken that constraint.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It's a good constraint to have, right? It's almost like at that point you have to focus on essentialism and the
Yeah.
20 that actually has impact. What would you say was the biggest step between, say, making 300K a month and 700K a month?
I would say the biggest step was putting the leadership team in place. Now, obviously, there's lots of little micro steps. Like you've got to build the marketing machine, and you've got to build the sales process, and you've got to figure out the service offering and the launch process. But for a long time, like I was the person, making those decisions and putting those things in place. Once I had enough revenue, I was able to decide, like, do I want to keep this responsibility and maintain high profitability, or am I willing to give up a little bit of the profitability and invest in buying back my own time, buying back my own freedom, by putting a leadership team in place, by paying a little bit more than the market standard for these types of roles, and have people that can make decisions and run things forward. When I made that commitment and made that pivot, I think that's really what helped us accelerate to the next level.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Definitely. Do you recommend, like, when you get to that sort of level? I mean, this is something that I talked to Neil Patel recently about when I interviewed him, and he was saying, one of the best things you could do at a certain stage, particularly a growth level like we're at, is starting to sell more services so that you can keep your clients longer and they become
Mm.
more reliant on you, and also you can help them more, right? You can give more value to them. What's your take? Like, for example, for us, we've pretty much got to where we are, just selling link building and some human content.
Mm. No, I agree with that premise completely. So if I look at plumbing and HVAC SEO, we had one core program, and the prices changed over the years from like $1,500 to $3,000 to like $4,000 a month. And it was website SEO, pay per click, social media. Our account management team was very much customer service, right, and retention only. Like there was no upsell strategy. It was just let's keep these clients happy. Let's try and keep the monthly retainer. And we kind of stalled out at about $3 million per year, $3 to $4 million per year. It wasn't growing
Mhm.
because we were selling a certain amount of new clients, we were losing a certain amount of clients, and there was like the delta wasn't there. And really, to break through a plateau like that, there's only three things you can change. You can sell more clients, right, and like grow the sales team. You can increase the average value per client, or you can improve retention, right? Those are the only three things. We kind of squeezed as much juice as we could out of the retention. And so the only other play was, let's figure out how we can offer more services to the existing client base so we can become more valuable, and so that they can pay us, instead of the average $2,000 a month, we can get that to $5,000 per month, just as an example. And that shift was huge. And it required us changing our account management team from being just customer service to a little bit more sales oriented, right? Where they're not just, hey, here's what we did, here's the result, like see you next month, but they're talking about the strategy for the company. They're talking about how that company can generate better results by doing more things, whether that's LSA, whether that's putting marketing automation in place, whether that's expanding into additional locations, going more aggressive with our geography that we're targeting. They had an opportunity to upsell those clients into those services, which improved retention, believe it or not, because now they're like, okay, you can bring more things to the table. I don't have to hop to some other company, and increase the average value for every one of our clients, which helped us bump past the $5 million mark.
This is exactly the stage we're at right now.
Hmm.
Launching more services, trying to become more valuable to the client. And like you say,
Yeah.
like the client doesn't want to switch. Like they don't want to buy from 10 different agencies. They'd rather
Yep.
have one good agency that does everything, right?
Yes.
How do you spend or invest your money at that level?
Well, I spend probably I spend a healthy amount on travel and
I
house,
good
like,
for you.
because we've you know we've tried not to be misers, right? And yes, I want to be a steward of the money that I have. Yes, I want to put money into investing, and we've got money in investing and money put away. But it'd be really easy to say, hey, I need to keep all of this money in a nest egg so that I can continue to build my fortune. But the reality is, my kids right now, they're 3, they're 9, they're 11. They're never going to be this age again, right? And there's like a window of time right now where we have them home, or we have the opportunity to take adventures with them, to spend time with them. So we spend a lot of money on travel and spending time with family, and on experience, and on the home that we live in. We really made a big, not investment, but a big expenditure on that, because we want to optimize this time we have with our kids, which is never coming back. But I invest right now heavily in whole life insurance, where I have a very nice, safe, secure place to house my money, protected from tax, protected from lawsuits, protected from that type of stuff. And then I'm investing in multifamily properties through syndicated real estate deals, which gives me a healthy, safe return. I will be investing in some more single family, property as well, but predominantly, it's in whole life and multifamily real estate.
Yeah, I love the idea of experiences. Have you read the book Die with Zero by any chance?
I have not read it, but I know the premise of it. I read like the Cliff Notes version of it.
Ah, right. Yeah, yeah. So like he talks all about how, life is the collection of the experiences that you have. That's kind
Hmm.
of like the bank account of life almost.
Yeah.
And so I thought that's a really interesting way of looking at life where, it's those experiences that you remember when you look back and you look back on a year, you don't remember all the days that you were grinding it out for 16 hours. You remember the experiences and the places you went and the people you're with, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, anyone watching, definitely check out the Seven Figure Agency Group. It's one of the best masterminds I've ever joined in my life. Absolutely amazing. Josh, what's the best way to contact you?
Best way, if you're Instagram, you can look me up, Josh Nelson Coach, or go to sevenfigureagency.com. There you can grab a free copy of my book, The Seven Figure Agency Roadmap, and would love to connect with you further.
Fantastic. All right. Appreciate you being on. Cheers, Josh.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.